Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex with my co-host here today, Anthony Rivardo. Hope you guys enjoyed the last episode with us in person in New York. Shooting the crap about some position battles this upcoming training camp, and I'm excited to see how some of these battles do unfold, especially at the cornerback position, outside linebacker. The defense has a lot of talent, but a lot of starting jobs up for grabs. It's going to be really awesome to watch how these position battles unfold in the coming days. But today, we wanted to discuss this rumor that's floating around, and, as training camp kind of gets started and more news is coming out, we're going to start focusing more on stuff that same day and really current news. But since things are still a little bit slow, until next week when things really start to ramp up, today's rumor of the day is Jabrill Peppers being traded. Now, God help me, I don't know why. I don't know who started this rumor. Somebody said CBS posted an article saying that a surprise cut or a surprise trade candidate could be Jabrill Peppers. An NFL rumors account with somehow has a lot of followers decided to post something about it and saying that he could be cut, simply just gauging the fact that someone just took a random guess that he could be a surprise cut. We're going to tell you why he shouldn't be. We're going to tell you why he should be extended. We're going to break down why and what his impact to this defense really is, because people are overlooking his value. Some people say it makes sense to trade him. Dave Gettleman, didn't re-sign Landon Collins in the past. Will he do the same thing with Jabrill Peppers? Two different players. We're going to tell you why in a couple minutes. But Anthony, my friend, how are you doing today, and what are you thinking about this blasphemy?
I'm thinking about this blasphemy that it is pure blasphemy. I think it's ridiculous for anyone to suggest that the Giants should cut or trade Jabrill Peppers. Now, I understand, we're not all going to share the same opinions on a player, but this is one I feel like we should all share. Jabrill Peppers is an objectively excellent player for the Giants defense, and if you actually watch the way that the Giants defense plays and the way that it operates, you're going to understand pretty quickly that they need Jabrill Peppers to stay on this team long term. Okay, he's a young player, an extremely talented player, former first-round pick who's been playing like a first-round pick when he's been with the Giants. So Jabrill Peppers is a phenomenal player. He's the heart and soul of the defense, an absolute leader on the back end, just manning down that secondary and holding everything together. Peppers needs to stay, and I'll be pissed if they were to trade him or cut him. I don't think that they will. I think that it's a BS rumor. I think somebody at CBS was a little bored with their day job and wanted to write a dumb article, and that's what they did. And now we have to talk about this, which is okay, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that it's actually a real possibility or real rumor. I just think it's some dumb article that somebody wrote, and I think that it is dumb is my main point. Why would you trade Jabrill Peppers? If anybody is listening to this and they actually think that, the Giants should trade or cut Jabrill Peppers, please explain the reasoning why in the comment section below, because anybody that I've seen explain it on Twitter, they have not given me a compelling argument. So maybe one of you can change that, but I don't know. I just can't see any reason why that would happen.
There is no compelling argument for trading Jabrill Peppers. Really, a lot of people will say, and the only one that actually stands any ground is that Xavier McKinney does play a similar position. But do you even think Xavier McKinney plays that similar spot?
No, and here's why. Okay, so what I think is a lot of Giants fans don't understand when we talk about base defense, right, in the NFL, most of the time you're talking about 3-4 or 4-3. Okay, because those are the base defensive concepts or formations, right? But for the Giants, who run so much nickel and dime packages, their true base defense is not a 3-4, it's not a 4-3. It's a nickel, and most of the time it's nickel 3-3-5. Okay, so that means you have 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs, but what they like to do is take Jabrill Peppers and put him in as one of those linebacker roles. And then they have usually an edge rusher at the other one and Blake Martinez at the other one. So you kind of have one edge, Blake Martinez in the middle, and then you just have your Swiss Army knife of Jabrill Peppers. And that's why that defense is so damn good, is because Jabrill Peppers is able to play that multifaceted role in the linebacker position, while Xavier McKinney and Logan Ryan play safety with the 2 outside cornerbacks. That's why all of that works, because Jabrill Peppers is able to make that work. And if they can't run their base defense because Jabrill Peppers is no longer there, Xavier McKinney is not going to play the same role as Jabrill Peppers. He can play a similar role, but he's not going to get down in the box and play linebacker the way that Jabrill Peppers does. Peppers, you put him in at linebacker and you take Crowder out, you're actually getting a better run defender in there. And Jabrill Peppers is a safety, so naturally he's also better in coverage. He is arguably the second best linebacker on the team. I don't even think it's arguable. He is the second best linebacker on the team. So when people are saying, oh, why would you pay Jabrill Peppers? Because you're not just overpaying a safety. You're paying a safety and a linebacker. It's 2-for-1 price. You're buying 2 positions for 1 price tag. And I think that it's totally worth it. And I don't know, people just don't seem to understand the whole concept of the Giants defense. Like, they spend more time in nickel than they do in their actual base concept. So their base concept is the nickel, and that's why Jabrill Peppers is so important in Patrick Graham's defensive scheme, because he's playing two starting positions. 50% of the time he's playing safety, 50% of the time he's playing linebacker, and he's starting at both of them.
Okay, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that people don't understand what we saw with Jabrill Peppers last year and the concept of trading him. And the stupid rumor says trading him to clear cap room. This person may have never used Google before to go figure out that Jabrill Peppers is making $6.7 million this season. $6.7 million this season for a player of his quality is absurd. It's a steal. You know, he's on his rookie contract. Why would you trade a player now, you know, when we're looking to make a playoff appearance? We're looking to take this big jump forward. And why would you hurt your own team losing a player of his magnitude when it's not necessary? You know what I mean? He's a captain. This is ridiculous. And I want this to be more of a this is how good Jabrill Peppers is episode instead of a let's bash on the idiot that made this up episode. And that's where I want to head with this, because Jabrill Peppers saw his statistics absolutely blossom under Tom Thibodeau, okay? This is a player that saw like every single defensive category increase because of the scheme last year with Patrick Graham using him in this kind of versatile role, this Swiss Army knife type of role. And let me list off the statistical categories that he improved in. Actually, he set personal records in. Combined tackles with 91. Solo assists with 57. He set tackles in tackles for a loss with 8. Sacks with 2.5. Passes defended with 11. Pressures, hurries, and his missed tackle rate was the lowest it's ever been. Those are all of the most important statistics for a defensive player, especially when you're playing linebacker / safety, money backer. You know, he can play free safety, he can play all these things. And let me remind you, injuries are a very, very frequent occurrence in the NFL. If Xavier McKinney goes down, like he did last year, you need Jabrill Peppers. If Logan Ryan goes down, you need Jabrill Peppers. If a linebacker goes down, Jabrill Peppers can go up and do that. Someone said on Twitter, Jabrill Peppers isn't that good of a coverage player. In fact, I think he was one of the best coverage players that we had last year, manning up against running backs and tight ends. He is our go-to tight end coverage guy, our go-to running back coverage guy in the flats. I trust him in the run game. He's an energizer. He elevates the players around him. He has that aura around him that makes him so good, but brings the rest of the team up to his level. You know what I mean? You need to have those players on the roster. You cannot disregard having those energizers on defense, because those guys that make big plays, those guys that come up clutch, those guys that lay big hits out, the rest of the team feels that energy and they feed off of it. You know what I mean? Like, look at those best players in the league. Look at the Aaron Donalds. Look at the Jalen Ramseys. Look at, you know, those players that are just so good, and they make those impact plays, and everybody around them gets better because of it. Jabrill Peppers has the ability to make those flashy impact plays that elevates the teammates. And I think getting rid of him right now when he's only being paid $6.7 million would be a huge mistake, a massive mistake. The only way I'm ever going to consider trading Jabrill Peppers, the only way, is if we get to the trade deadline and our team is awful and we've lost a ton of games and there's no way, there's no hope in sight, and trading Jabrill Peppers will get us some draft capital for next year. That is the only way I am even considering trading Jabrill Peppers right now. Why would you castrate your defense with one of the most explosive playmakers on that unit before the season even begins? That has to be the dumbest thing you could possibly do, especially since he's coming off his best season to date under Patrick Graham, right? This has to be the stupidest thing I've seen in months. And, like, I was hoping we could get to training camp without having to be absolutely, like, just horrified by some of these rumors. And it just pisses me off because, like, I was having a good week. We had a good week in New York. We're having some good episodes. We're getting ready for training camp. And this guy has to come out here and ruin my week. And I just want this to be a Jabrill Peppers hype episode because he is that good. He is going to be that good, and he's versatile as hell, man. He can play free safety, strong safety, money backer. Anthony and I believe he's both going to move down into the box a ton alongside Blake Martinez to complement him as kind of this coverage linebacker. Who has that strong safety mentality to him. And that allows Xavier McKinney to drop back into the zone and drop back into coverage and play at the line of scrimmage and do a lot of different things and be unique. Patrick Graham is going to use all three of those safeties in very, very specific and unique ways, and it's going to keep defenses on their toes, and that's what is so exciting about this, right? I'm excited. I'm excited for Jabrill Peppers. It's complete nonsense. If they trade him, Dave Gettleman, man, I can't forgive you for that one, but he hasn't, so it's irrelevant.
Yeah, and I got to say, so you mentioned the article proposes this potential trade because it's clearing cap space. Clearing cap space for who? Like, we're at the start of the season now. It's July. Who are you signing off the streets right now that is worth $7 million? I'm not cutting Jabrill Peppers or trading Jabrill Peppers so I can give $6 million to David DeCastro while he mulls retirement, or Mitchell Schwartz while he mulls retirement. Who am I signing for this money? KJ Wright's not worth $6.5 million. He's not even the same level of player that Jabrill Peppers is, considering age and impact and importance to this defense. Who are you signing if you're clearing that cap space? Like, what would be the purpose of trading Jabrill Peppers right now? The better argument for that stupid proposal would be trading Jabrill Peppers to extract his value before he becomes a free agent. That's the only way that it would make sense. But to clear cap space? For who? Like, why would you go ahead and just do that? Waste this talent by trading him away so you can go sign some bum in free agency a month before the season starts. That's literal stupidity, the definition of it. And then, of course, I have another bone to pick kind of with the Giants fandom, the fan base sometimes. We talk about depth all the time. And shout out to Dave Gettleman crawling behind Alex. But we talk about depth all the time. And Giants fans are always like, we never have enough depth. Like, this team doesn't have enough depth. And then as soon as we get enough depth, they want to trade the best player away and just ruin the depth. Like, we now have really good safeties. We have Jabrill Peppers, Logan Ryan, Xavier McKinney. Those are your three starters, plus Julian Love as your backup. Like, that is a perfect prime safety core. Like, why would you want to trade away one of those and then go back to having poor depth? Like, I don't understand it. Everybody's always complaining about the lack of depth on this team. We finally get the depth, and now we want to trade some players and go back to having no depth. It's like the same thing with Sterling Shepard. People want to trade him this offseason. I'm like, why? We just got good wide receiver depth. At least give Kadarius Toney a year to develop so that we can get more depth behind him. Like, don't just trade players away as soon as you have depth. I don't know. That's just kind of my rant and spiel on that. It ties into the Jabrill Peppers topic, but I feel like that's a theme, a consistent problem that this fan base has. We're not used to having depth on this team because we've been bad for so long. So every time we get depth, we just want to trade the best player away and then use the depth that we had as our starters, which means that you no longer have any depth.
No.
Right, it just doesn't make sense to me. It's just not how that works. That's not how you build a roster in the NFL. It's not the NBA. In the NBA, you can get away with that because you get a superstar like LeBron or Giannis, and they'll carry your team, and then you just have depth around them. But if you trade away those players, like, I don't know, it's just not the NBA. The NFL roster building is so much different. Yeah, it's a team sport.
If you have a weakness,
depth is important.
Exactly. And when you have a weakness, teams attack you the weakness in the NFL. Think about Isaac Yiadom, CB2 last year. You have that weakness, teams attack it over and over and over, and eventually you're going to lose games. You lost that Dallas game early in the season because that weakness at Ryan Lewis at CB2. Remember, Michael Gallup had that massive catch down the sideline. Ryan Lewis was caught in coverage in no man's land, and then suddenly, bam, they have a field goal and they win the game. That's what happens when you have a weakness. If you have a Dory Jackson there, he catches up to that, creates an incompletion, and we go on to win that football game, and we're in the playoffs because that's the difference between winning and losing and making the playoffs sometimes. That one moment, that one split-second decision, that one play. And when you have a weakness, an NFL team, they will find ways to attack it. They will find ways to exploit it. That is what the Giants are trying to avoid at all costs, creating another weakness when there already is a strength. Why would you take a strength, turn it into a weakness for $6.7 million in cap space when the only way that actually allocating that money would be beneficial is to allocate it toward the offensive line, and there's no good free agent offensive lineman to even go after right now. So what the hell is the point of doing that? There's not even a general basis of justification or logic that goes behind cutting Jabrill Peppers, creating a weakness where we have a strength, and then using that $6.7 million. What exactly are you going to get with that? Good offensive linemen aren't going off the board for $6.7 million. You know, maybe offensive linemen coming off serious injuries or really bad seasons and trying to make a comeback, maybe like Trey Turner or whatnot, but he's already signed. You know, there's guys, there's no one on the left to go with. You know, there's no one left that's really worth even considering. So Why are we turning a strength into a weakness here? Why is this rumor even a thing? A surprise cut. The only way a trade scenario even makes a minimal sense is if you wait until the trade deadline, and the Giants are sucking eggs, and you have to just start getting more draft capital for the next year, and then you consider replacing Jabrill Peppers in the draft. That's the only way that makes sense. But we are not there. We probably won't get there. Knock on wood. And I think that this team is in place to really make a good run at the postseason and not just lose out and be trading guys at the trade deadline. If anything, keep Jabrill Peppers, trade Sterling Shepard, and move that money over to Jabrill Peppers. Because Sterling Shepard, at this point in his career, we have so many receivers. We have a good amount of safeties, but the scheme that we run demands a lot of safeties. And the wide receiver talent that we do have, it doesn't make sense to hold on to Sterling Shepard if we're losing at that point in the season. Nonetheless, I love Sterling Shepard. He's a great red zone threat, great player. I think he's going to feast this year, having a Kenny Golladay alongside him and Saquon Barkley coming back. But, guys, we just wanted to get this off our chest because, I got a little pissed off before. I was sitting there like, this is ridiculous. I just looked at Jabrill Peppers' stats, and the guy set personal records in almost every single defensive category last year. Patrick Graham found the best in Jabrill Peppers. They found out how to use him correctly, and he actually dominated. He made some huge plays, again, especially in that Seattle game. He had that huge pass breakup in the end zone against the tight end. I forget who it was, Hollister maybe. I forget who it was, but he made an awesome pass break in the end zone. That was the difference between winning and losing that game, that touchdown that he saved. He's a freaking keeper, man. He's a keeper. If anything, extend the guy. Extend Jabrill Peppers. We'll find money in the future. Sterling Shepard has an out after this year. Flip over the cash. There's ways to open up cap space. We will get it done, guys. And I'm pretty confident that the cap is also going to explode next year with the TV deal coming into play. With Amazon and everything. So, we have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot of decisions that will have to be made. But at the end of the day, the Giants are in a good spot. The Giants are in a position to succeed, and I think that Jabrill Peppers is part of that success. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant that Anthony and I just embarked on because I think it was necessary to get this off our chests. But training camp coming up next Tuesday. The whole team reports will be on top of it for you guys. We'll be making sure you guys have all the necessary information you need. We're hyped. We're excited. And as soon enough, it'll be regular season, baby, and we'll be watching these freaking games, getting you so much great content. It's going to be awesome. So hopefully you guys are excited as we are. And make sure to subscribe below on YouTube. Notifications on Apple and Spotify, my friends. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.